Hello everyone, welcome to Knowledge is Power. I'm Wanda Miller, the host. This week was to be a continuation of human trafficking shows. This is actually, January is Human Trafficking Awareness Month, and we had planned to do a month-long series of shows. However, my guest for this week, Jen Kreider, who is half of the dynamic duo that is Kristen Tulo, who is the executive director of the PA chapter of the Humane Society of the United States. Jen is the volunteer coordinator. I don't know her exact title. The title changed, and I don't remember exactly what she told me. And of course, she's not on, and we didn't get all that information. But Jen does work closely with Kristen, and she is the representative here in New York for the Humane Society of the United States, the Pennsylvania chapter. And Jen was actually going to talk about the signs of dogfighting, because dogfighting is closely correlated with human trafficking, which I found very interesting. Of course, dogfighting is also drug trafficking, and a lot of other crimes go along with dogfighting. But Jen was going to do a show on this. She does a free program that is approximately an hour long. So she was just going to basically do the program here on air and educate everyone on the signs of dogfighting. Jen is sick, like a lot of other people. She let me know on Monday, and she was very apologetic, and I hope she's feeling better, which is fine. That happens. People get sick. But the upside to that, there's always, just making those lemons into lemonade. So I have with me a familiar face, and she should become even more familiar because she is running for city council.
That's right.
This is Miss Ann Clark.
Thank you for having me today. I'm glad
welcome.
to be here.
She's also a community leader, and she is involved with Lincoln Charter School.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk about all those things in a little bit. She's brought some pictures, and she's going to talk about why she wants to be on city council and why she'll be very good on city council when she gets elected, which she'll get elected, right, everyone? And yes, I am partial to Ann. I do endorse her. I think she's great. Just as I said that I've endorsed Carol Hill Evans. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie to the viewers. I'm partial to these people, and that's my opinion. This isn't a news show, so I can have that opinion. All right, so let's see. So next week, we are going to continue the series of human trafficking. And our guest next week will be Sarah Keister from the Covenant House, and she will talk about what the Covenant House is. Covenant House came in approximately September of last year. Covenant House is an organization that works with youth that are either homeless and or have been victims of human trafficking. So they are a great group. They do a lot of good in the community. Really, it was wonderful when I heard that they were coming in. And we're going to have an even more special guest. Now, get ready for this. The Honorable Mayor Kim Bracey, I am proud to say, has graciously agreed to be on the show. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. I do want to let everyone know that the Facebook page for the show is up, and it's up, and it's starting to get going. You can find it right now, because I'm not sure of links and everything. I have another administrator now, and they're like the two tech guys are talking tech, and I'm like, I have no clue. So as soon as I get that clue, I'll let everyone know. But in the meantime, you can find us at Knowledge is Power York, PA, and that should take you to one of the last shows that we did, which was the show right before Christmas, which was the one with the UC workers. If you just click on that, at least you'll get to our YouTube channel, and you can check out the other videos. And hopefully, over the weekend, we'll get these to Tony, the tech guy, and Tony will be able to post this show, last week's show, and some other shows that are just floating around, including one that Ann has had in her car apparently for 6 months or so.
This is true, actually. It's true.
Great. No, I told Ann before, I'm going to put her on the spot. But, you want officials that are honest, and I'm being very serious now. Now, when Ann was here the last time, we didn't have all our upgrades and everything. I didn't have a tech guy. And because Ann they have media for the Lincoln Charter School and all the other things she's involved in. I just let her have the DVD, and I said, hey, when you're done getting it posted,
That's true.
can you bring it back? So I asked her before the show, hey, did you ever get that posted? Did it work? Because Carla Christopher tried to have her tech guy post the 2 shows that she was on, and there was some issue with, I don't know, the HD and DVDs don't want to talk, and there's pixelation, and I don't know what's going on. But, if you're a tech person, you understand that. I have no clue. So I asked Ann, and she said, well, actually, it's in the car. And it has been in the car.
That's right. I could not tell, don't want to lie about it, because it has been in the car, but not 6 months, 2 months. So, but it has been in there since November, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it back today, and she's going to get it uploaded so you can watch the things I said then. So
yeah. So and it's great, because I knew back then that she was going to run for city
Yes,
council, but
you did.
we weren't announcing it. She wasn't.
That's
ready.
right. You did.
Remember, you weren't.
You were
ready
one of
to-
the first people to know.
Yeah. And
That's
we had
true.
to keep it hush hush.
Yeah.
So it was great. So remember, your first gig.
I'm going to have to remember. It was my first gig.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah, so when
on this topic,
When you're
yeah.
sitting in the White House as the
That'd
first
be so
female
nice.
president. Yeah.
I'll know where I started.
Yeah, and and I'll be in New York somewhere in some studio, and
Yeah.
we'll both be having La La Land dreams.
That's very nice. You never know with things.
Well,
you think you know, but you never know.
You never know. So I do want to point out though that, and another, on a serious note, yesterday was Human Trafficking Awareness Day. It was January 11th, which was yesterday, and I'm pointing this out because I have gotten some flack because I am not a big supporter of the Women's March on Washington. The reason I'm not a big, and I'm not going to go into all the details, but basically the reason I'm not a big supporter is I just don't think that we should be spending, there's going to be 200,000 plus women and their male allies. This is what I was reading in the press. And at least, they'll be spending at least $30 a pop for each person, rather they drive or they take a bus or whatever. That's just an average. Bus, and a lot of the bus seats are going for $100.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane. And, I've been catching flack because my perspective on it is, okay, it's wonderful that you want to have unity and you want to try to protest something, but think about this. Just everyone out there, think about this. $30 a person, 200,000 more people. You multiply those two, 200,000 times 30, that gets approximately $6 million. Think about what $6 million could do. Instead of basically giving Trump what he wants, which is more attention, and I hope it doesn't backfire. I just don't have a lot of faith that it's not going to backfire. And I just think that money, if women really want to get together, they really want to empower and support their sisters, and I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, I know right now, but that's fine, then we need to start looking at how we're spending our money and our time and our resources. And I just don't think that this is going to be the best use of money, time, and resources. And that's all I'm going to say about it. So, in the meantime, we have a human trafficking issue. It's all over the country. It's very prevalent in York because York has we have Harrisburg and we have Harrisburg and we have Philadelphia and we have we have New York. We have all these different places. With Baltimore, there's kind of like the central hub here for crime in general, human trafficking especially. And I just actually read an article, the HuffPost put this out a couple days ago, and they talked about the re-victimization of young women who have been human trafficked. And the majority of the young women who are re-victimized are young women that are from diverse backgrounds. They are Black, they are Hispanic, they are non-white young women. And they are victimized twice. They are victimized first by the human trafficker, and then they're victimized by the court system, by society, because what they're doing, they're 9 times out of 10 it's sexual, it's prostitution basically. They're being forced into prostitution. And so when they get arrested, they're the ones that get charged, because even though they're being forced, and a lot of times they're being threatened, basically, either you do this or you die, or someone you love dies. So they're being, these are very traumatized young women who are then being victimized a second time by the court system and society. And I just think that if you look at the figure of $6 million, just think about what that could do as far as resources. There's a human trafficking task force in New York. Dr. Sherry Kim was here last week. She has a free clinic Wednesdays from 10 to 2, every Wednesday from 10 to 2. She does a lot of work within the community, and does a lot of work within the community. Sonia Pitsy.
Yes.
There's Sonia Sonia the Ekia lady, which she's great. She does a lot. And getting back to Mayor Bracy, which is, I want to talk a little bit about the Mayor Bracy coming on, because I've gotten some flack over this too, and I'm going to address it. I asked Mayor Bracy on because I believe Mayor Bracy's I don't believe that she's getting a fair shot in among the community, among the media, and I don't think that's fair. I'm not going to sit here, it's not my job to sit here and judge her. She agreed to come on. The agreement is that they will decide what they want to talk about. I will not ask her questions that she's not comfortable with. I will not ambush her. I will not threaten the integrity of the show, because I pride myself on that integrity of, when a guest sits beside me, they know that I'm not going to play games with them. I'm not going to pull punches. I'm not here to make a fool out of them. If I want to make a fool out of you, you're not going to be invited on the show. It's that simple. I just want Mayor Bracy to be able to say what she wants to say. And whatever she doesn't, whatever that is, that's fine with me. I also want to give her a lot of credit, because I have criticized her. And it can't be comfortable for someone to sit beside someone who has criticized you. So, if nothing else, she needs to be recognized as being a class act for that, because she could have just very well snubbed me, not even recognized it. She could have said no. I got a very nice email from her. It was very short, it was very brief, but it was signed Kim. It wasn't signed Mayor Bracy, it was signed Kim. So I would just, we do have the capacity to calls in. We just don't do it, because the only calls we ever got were telemarketers. We're not going to do like a call in next week, and we're not going to put her on the spot. I just want people to understand that, and you can give me flack if you want for it. That's the way it is. I will also say that I have asked Michael Helfrich on the show. I asked him it was over the summer. He told me at the time he didn't want to come on because he wasn't ready yet to declare his candidacy for mayor. That's fine, but I don't understand why he couldn't come on. Ann came on. She wasn't ready to declare her candidacy either, but she still came on and talked about other things that she's involved with. But that's his choice. But I just want people to understand that he was asked. He was asked. He doesn't want to come on. That's his right. Mayor Bracy was asked. She doesn't want to come on. That's her right. So because Mayor Bracy is being such a class act about this, I'm going to give her the golden hammer again this week. And again, if you don't like it, fine. But I feel she deserves this. And she's going to be, we're going to be having the Martin Luther King, the Sunday supper coming up this weekend. And, I think the majority of people that go there do like the mayor. I don't think her critics come. Hopefully they don't come to just make trouble. If that's your plan, please don't do that. But, I did want to give her the hammer for that. So thank you, Mayor Bracy, for agreeing to come on, and we're really looking forward to having you on next week. The other thing that I need to mention is we are coming up on that time of the annual unsheltered point-in-time count of the area's homeless individuals. That will take place Thursday, January 26th. Jessica Maccabee, who is heading the Continuum of Care, which is it's the COC, and that is the group for the county that addresses homelessness in the county. Jess is the Assistant Director of Human Services. Jessica is telling me that they are still collecting items to be passed out during the count. And generally the way this works is during this day, they go to different points and they talk to people who are homeless, and they do a survey with them. They ask them about if they need resources. They try to help them, connect them with those resources. And then they do an outreach at that time. And that outreach consists of giving them cold weather gear, and these are the things that they need yet. They need cold weather gear. They need hats, scarves, gloves, anything, cold weather, heavy socks, things like that. They need deodorant. They need, for hygiene products, they need deodorant. They need soap. They need body wash. They need razors. And they need shampoo. They are good to go on toothpaste and brushes. Jessica said, please, no more toothpaste and brushes. They need these other things. And I will make sure that I post this up on the Facebook page for the show, so that if, you want to contribute, which, really, go to the Dollar Tree. I just went to the Dollar Tree today because I have a couple of things that I'm Lincoln and the MLK American Supper is also asking for a donation of hygiene products. So I just went and I got these toothbrushes today. So somebody's going to get these. I got a couple of things because there's a couple of different drives going on right now. So Dollar Tree, $1. You could, buy a candy bar for $1 instead of putting it on your hips. Give somebody that really needs the help. So you can drop those items off at the Human Services Center, which is 100 West Market Street, 4th floor. That is the Human Services office. All right, now on to the big announcement. Senator Scott Wagner is running for governor. No big surprise. We all kind of knew that, but he officially declared his candidacy the other day. And I have to say that he still hasn't responded to my challenge because, he put out that email about he has these big balls and he'll meet with anyone and blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, I'm a kind of ballsy girl myself, so, let's meet here. If you have the moxie to do it, let's do it. And he hasn't. So I'm thinking that maybe, he just needs to understand that, okay, here's my balls. And, let's just see if you can match that, buddy. There's 2 of them. And they're blue because, it's cold, but of course not cold today, but, I thought it was kind of funny, like blue balls for being cold. But anyway, since you seem to have trouble finding your balls, right here's 2. So, I'll give you one. You want to come on the show and we can talk. The UC workers are still laid off. I touched base today with one of their staff members, one of the representatives, and she's going to get me some more information about what's happening. She didn't get a chance to get it today, so maybe next week I'll have an update on that. And honestly, I was going to do this publicity stunt. It was going to be called Help Senator Scott Wagner Get Back His Balls Drive. And then, and it was kind of funny, and everybody had to laugh about it. And then I thought about this, and I thought, I don't think it's a good idea, because first of all, why give him more attention? He doesn't need any attention, because this is what he wants. He wants attention. Because if you do this, the media's probably going to pick up on it, and then he'll come out and he'll make some big blowhard statement, and he'll boast about something and talk about, how people are, everything that he says about Governor Wolf and how horrible Governor Wolf is, he'll say about us, that we're sore losers, that we're liberals, that obviously we're Democrats, or, whatever. And, and the other thing is, again, going back to the Women's March, well, I'd be pretty much a hypocrite, wouldn't I, if I'm saying that that's kind of a waste of money, but yet I'd be telling people to go out and go to the dollar store and spend $1. Because, 100 people go and buy balls for, toy balls for Wagner. $100, what could we do for $100? So this is the idea that I had. And I want everybody to think about this, and I want you to contribute if you can. I'm going to try to get this all worked out. As I said, I talked to a representative from the SEIU. I should put this on too. Did you see? They gave me this. I was at the rally, and they actually, I'm kind of like an honorary member. I feel like an honorary member of SEIU.
It's a nice hat.
Yeah. So I always wear it when I talk about my friends at that SEIU. So my idea was, okay, well, instead of doing instead of going out and trying to do the publicity stunt, let's all go out, okay, everyone go out, go to the dollar store and buy a hygiene product. Either buy a hygiene product at the dollar store. I mean, if you don't have a lot of money, everybody can afford at least $1 out of the month on like something like this. Or maybe you have a pack of like 20 rolls of toilet paper. Donate a roll of toilet paper. Diapers. Hygiene products, anything like that, paper towels, anything that you can think of that, put yourself in their place. Think about times when you didn't have a lot of money. Those are the kind of things that, you can get food. Food's pretty easy to get. You can get clothing. There's a lot of resources for those types of things, but for things and hygiene products are kind of fairly easy to get too. But things like toilet paper, detergent, laundry detergent, that's another biggie. And a lot of these things you can get at the dollar store, cleaning supplies, anything like that people need on a daily basis. But when they're not working, it's kind of hard to, buy those necessities along with everything else. So I'm thinking, why don't we do a drive and
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Maybe the Lincoln Charter kids would like to get in on this, and if that's something, I don't know, they do things like that once off and on, don't they?
We always collect anybody that comes and approaches us who's in
Mhm.
need. We do collect for that, for different organizations.
Good.
And so, they could contact me and, or somebody at the
I don't
school.
mean to put you on the spot, but I know that you do these
Well,
things.
we do these all the time. We do literally a drive every single month. So I agree with you.
Mhm.
These are the things that are needed in the community,
Yeah.
and it's nice. And that's very thoughtful of you to do that for the people who are unemployed right now, because they are going to need help.
Yeah, and I was thinking, since you're on, and I said this to the rep, said that I know that, because I've been involved with Annie for a while in
Yeah.
Lincoln Charter School, and I sat in on a meeting or two there.
Yeah,
and
you have.
They're a great school, and I remember the one day I was there. This was last year, and I don't know what you were collecting for, but you had clothes everywhere. I think you were collecting for homeless youth.
We did for last
Yeah.
year for
Yeah.
the MLK event, and this year's the toiletries. But February we're not collecting anything right now, so definitely remind me about that,
Okay,
because we would definitely like to support the people who are unemployed.
okay.
'Cause it's important.
That's great. All right, so last but not least, we have to get Stinky into the mix here. And Stinky, well, of course, it goes without saying Stinky and Scott Wagner are close buds at this point. But I'm giving the Stinky skunk this week to a rather unexpected person, and that is our property manager, because I'm in supported housing at Bell Socialization, and we have a property manager named Oscar Herrero. Now, Oscar works with people that are disabled, and yet I have seen Oscar park in a handicap space more than once. He does not have a placard, he does not have a disability, he just does it because he can. I don't think this is right. We had a big whoop-de-doo when Mayor Wasco, and rightly so, when he posted all those horrible things about orangutans and African Americans, and he got driven out of office, which he should have been. But this kind of smacks of the same thing. It smacks of the same thing of, we have Bell is an organization that says their mission statement is to empower lives every day. And how is that empowering someone who has a mental illness? Because everyone has a different functionality in Bell. There are people like myself that are higher functioning. There are people that are not so high functioning. And I really think it does a grave disservice to the clients. I don't understand why Bell management allows it to continue, because there have been other issues. There have been issues that with rules being made that were blatantly against the Americans with Disability Act. And I'm just coming out and I'm saying it out in public because I've had enough. Bell has had opportunity to shape up, and they're not doing that. My next step is I'm going to be knocking at Sandra Thompson's door with the NAACP and see if she can get involved in this, because there's no reason why someone who works with an organization with disabled people should be taking their handicap parking space when they are not themselves disabled. do not have a placard. They don't even have it on the tag. They don't have a tag, so they definitely are not entitled to that space. And they should be fined, in my opinion. They should be fined. Should be dressed down by upper management. And that's what I'm going to say about that. So, on that happy note, I'm going to turn over here to Ann, because we have a lot to talk about.
There's a lot going on.
And one thing before we get going, Ann, special guests get a gold coin.
Thank you.
For good works. And
well, I appreciate
if anybody
that.
deserves one, you do.
I really appreciate that.
You deserve a golden hammer as well.
Oh, that's
so we
very...
can split that with Mayor Bracy this.
Oh. Well, I like your golden hammer. I have a golden shovel in my office, and I love, the kids love that too, that I use it for groundbreaking, so that's awesome.
That's cool.
Well, I appreciate that you have me back. I'm very excited to be running for York City Council, and there's a lot of great things happening in our city right now, and I'm glad to be a part of that. I'm glad to be part of bringing the excitement to York.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk about the picture? Ace, can we cue up the pictures, and we'll have her, you want to talk about them first?
Yeah, so...
and then we'll...
Yep.
Okay.
So what I did is, I was thinking yesterday, that one of the things we have to do is we have to really frame our message, and there's lots of good things going on in York. So I brought some pictures here.
Hang on.
Oh, yeah. And then, well, we can run through them, and then I'll talk about them afterwards.
Are you ready to...
Yeah,
okay.
that's fine. Everybody can look at them.
Okay, Ace, go ahead. She's running the show.
I'm sorry.
It's good to go. It's good to go.
Can I talk while they're running?
Yep.
Okay, so there's a picture of the fire department doing a career day.
Okay, next. I'll just cue him up for Ace. Ace and I work really well together. We just we're like, he's like my little brother. I just like to tease him.
Oh, this is my good friend, Miss Hawkins. This is our shirt that's been created for the campaign. And so she's wonderful. And one of the things she always says is she is going to be the advocate for children that she needed when she was young.
Oh.
And so she's an example of a champion in our city.
Great.
Of course, the firemen are definitely champions of our city, right?
Are you ready for the next one?
Yes.
Okay. Next, Ace.
Okay, this is one of my favorite pictures taken of all time. Of course, our police officers are champions of the city. Mm-hmm. But what I love about this particular photograph is that this was the first time we did an international walk to school day. And you can see that the police officers are leading the children of York. Mm-hmm. And Kevin Schreiber's there, and the mayor's there. And a lot of our champions are capturing this picture. And you can see the younger student walking behind. He's a future champion. And so I want us to start thinking about this. But this is one of my favorite photos ever taken.
Next.
Okay, so this was just this past weekend. This was the Three Kings event.
Uh-huh.
And this is the Three Kings, of course. And one of the kings there is Jose Santiago, and he is on the school board of York City. And these gentlemen, of course, are champions. Also, one of the guys standing there is the lieutenant of the ROTC program at York High. And there, of course, you can see Carol Evans, our state representative. She's certainly a champion.
Oh, yeah.
And so I love this picture. I just took this. So there's a lot going on in York.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Next.
And this is myself with Delma Rivera, and she actually she's like the director of community outreach at Central School District.
Ah, cool.
And she puts on one of the best multicultural events that I've ever been to. I mean, it is bar none.
Wow.
One of the best in the country, not just in York.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's a true champion. And her father and mother were the original founders of the Spanish American Center, which is now the Central Hispanic Jose Hernandez Center.
Where we were on Princess.
Right.
Okay.
And so Delma's been a champion for a long time. She grew up being a champion of York.
When do they have that event?
Oh, hers? I'm going to have to reach out to her. I think hers is right around this time. Okay, I can't. Let me see. What is the picture there? Oh, okay.
Police?
Yeah, so this is our of course, Lieutenant Fells and Jerry Zimmerman. And actually, Jerry was just put out as a champion on Facebook right now.
Oh, wow.
So Jerry herself has been advocating for everyone for years, and so she's part of the community police department, which is great. So Jerry is definitely a champion.
Yeah, Jerry's great. I like Jerry.
Yeah.
We're Facebook friends, and she's great.
You can always see her doing stuff.
Yeah. Okay, we're ready. Next.
This is Naomi Ortiz. She's a mother, grandmother in the community, and she received a leadership award for her parent involvement. She's also a board member of the Salem Square Community Association, and basically she's been advocating for Latinos and women for years. So she's definitely a true champion, and she's also mi amiga, so she's my friend.
Oh. Next.
It takes a minute.
Yeah, it lags a little bit. Oh, that one right.
Okay, this is another family in York. They are both part of the military, and this mother, Renita Franklin, has just become a board member at Lincoln Charter School. And one of the things that I like is that that's her, son right there, and she is just, really both the parents are just champions, not just for their son, but for all children. And really, they take every opportunity they can to champion good work.
Next. Huh?
Okay, that's
you, and looks like you.
Yeah, it is me, and that's
Yeah, I have my glasses on.
I know, right? But that's in that picture with me.
Well, looks like you.
You crack me up. That actually is me, and Steve Billett, who is one of the co-owners of Ironic, along with David Smith, and they are not just a champion of me, they are a champion of the whole Waco neighborhood. And so, they started Ironic not too long ago, and really they have gotten and coordinated that whole Waco area. And that's just been fantastic. And this was actually taken at New Year's Eve. And if you were downtown in New Year's Eve in York, there was things going on everywhere. And luckily I got to go to like 4 or 5 different places, so I was very lucky. That's my good friend Steve Billett, who's definitely a champion.
I hear good things about Ironic.
Oh, it is wonderful. It's Saturday, that's where our meet and greet will be. So that's awesome. This is a picture of me taking a picture, which is great. And this is actually the picture is taken by Randy Flom, who is a storyteller. And he's called the Story Man, and he's actually teaching photography now. He was a photographer for Dispatch for a long time, but now he's teaching photography in all the different schools, both in York and York County. And I like the picture because I'm always taking pictures, and so I have a lot of pictures of people taking pictures of me.
Yeah.
But this was during the youth celebration, the countdown for the kids at Central Market. And if someone has not gone to that, you need to go because it was really lovely.
You had it on your Facebook Live.
I did have it on my Facebook Live, which was great. I
was watching it from the warmth of my living room.
Yeah, and so it was wonderful. And I mean,
Mayor Bracey was there.
Mayor Bracey was there, and she did a wonderful job with that. And what is that picture there? That's the crowd.
Oh,
that's what that is, right? That's a picture of all the.
It looks like Ace is like, oh no.
That is the crowd that was at Central Market.
I don't know either.
I think that's what it is.
She's the guest. She should know.
Well, it's so far away, so we're going to say that was the crowd there. This is some of my favorite women are the Democratic Women of York, and this is a wonderful group. So if you haven't ever come to a luncheon, we have a luncheon at the end of the month at 11:30 Meadow Hills Restaurant.
Yeah.
And you can come at 11:30 to eat, or just come 12:30 for the meeting.
Yeah.
But
and anyone's welcome too.
Anyone and everyone is welcome.
As long as you're not coming there to make trouble. That's the only caveat.
Well, I mean, I think that things...
Because, you
can share your opinion. I mean, not everybody's going to agree.
We don't mean that. We mean, we don't want, like, somebody to come in and make trouble because they're Democrats. that's what...
Well, I would hope that they wouldn't do that.
Happened, but I feel like I have to put it out there.
Well, now that you put it out there, somebody might do it. Well, just think positive. Yeah. Everybody who comes is coming for the will of the song.
The time right now with the administration's changing and all the craziness, who knows. But
well,
they are great. They
are great. And the big thing that I like about them is, first off, they do welcome everybody. And even when you don't agree, and early on, one of the first times that I spoke about this subject in running was because we didn't agree about what charter schools were. But, even though we had different opinions, they welcomed me. They were informative, they asked great questions, and they are great leaders. And so, of course, this is with Carol Evans when she was sworn in. And Carol's a champion, Debianic, Alana, Salome, Sita. So just a great picture, and I love that picture.
Yeah. Yeah, and they are, I can speak to that because, everyone knows I have a big mouth. And they put up with me. So if they put up with me, they put up with a lot.
Well, because they know everybody's different, and everybody needs to be different.
Well, I'm different, that's for sure.
This is actually a picture of the ribbon cutting at Hope Street Garden and Learning Lab, and I built that with a lot of help, and certainly not myself. But one of the things I love about this picture is that we started about 4 years ago with absolutely nothing. I mean, nothing but a terrible field. And now we have a outdoor classroom, and we have 2 sheds, and we have a greenhouse, and it just keeps growing, and more partners keep coming on. But you can see there that the diversity of York, and so everybody who helped build Hope Street, they were all champions for our city, and definitely for the youth.
Yeah, this is really cool. You talked about this last time.
Yeah,
and I need to get out there. And
you
see
really
that,
do,
because this is just, and Ann can talk about that a little longer. This is just a really cool idea, and
yeah, we need to do actually more gardens and more learning labs, and there are groups who are working on that. Annalisa, you might know Annalisa. She's done the garden down at Royal Square.
Okay.
And she's so cute. She's, we were doing a conversation on what is a smart city, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But she's like, I'm going to build every garden in York if I have to build it alone. Yeah. And she is that champion. Like literally, she will build a garden a year. Yeah. I know that. She's just that determined.
She's a doer.
She is a doer. Yeah. So she is great.
And that's what an advocate truly is, people. An advocate doesn't sit and talk about it. They go out and they do it.
Yeah. So that's a picture of that.
We're ready for the next one, Elise. Thank you.
Oh, okay, great. This is actually
Lisa.
That is Lisa. Yeah. So that's Lisa, myself, and then my good friend Vanessa Cusack, and Lisa is my campaign chair. Yeah. She's my BFF. She's been my travel partner for years. I mean, honestly, we have traveled all over Pennsylvania, talking about parent engagement. That was our first conversations we had, and now it's come so much further. And Vanessa is also an advocate in York, and these women are both champions, and they both have just dedicated their entire lives to York, to raising children and making it a better place.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is Lisa.
Yeah. Lisa's nice. I met Lisa. She's so warm.
She's so warm.
She's like Carol Ho Evans. I was talking about Carol last week, and just certain people have that aura.
They do.
Have that warmth about them.
They do. So of course there's our good buddy Kevin Schreiber, right?
His hair.
And his gray hair. And these are some of the chorus. Singing with him. They do that every single year. But I love this picture because it really captures who Kevin Schreiber is. I mean, he was a champion for us as our state rep. He's going to be a champion for us at York Economic Alliance. And you need somebody like that who's charismatic and smart and getting it done. So he's definitely a champion.
Yeah, and he's going to come on the show and talk about his new position.
Oh, that's going to be fantastic,
And what I love about Kevin, too, is he's not afraid to make a goofball out of himself. He's just he's fun. He did the challenge for Emergency Council. He did with Representative Patty Kim. They did the do the nay.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
We make him dance every time he comes to our school. And he does the pinky promise. So Kevin, here's a pinky promise for you.
Patty said he needs to take some more dance lessons.
Yeah, that's great. This is actually St. Matt's, exactly. This is Christmas morning. And St. Matt's serves 1,000 people on Christmas morning. And after that, and I never knew this, after that they box up all the meals and they actually go visit every single fire station.
Oh, wow.
And take them dinner. I didn't know that piece of it.
No.
The other thing is that they had tons of clothing and blankets and and things, and I loved it because there were so many people, volunteers there who, and I thought about that. I was there, of course, but, it wasn't my idea to go. Actually, it was Davey's idea to go, and he's like, I really want to give back because people have given to me when I needed it. And so at first he was just going, then eventually I thought, you know what, I am going to go with you. And from now on, I'm going to do that every Christmas morning at different locations because that was wonderful. But the people at St. Matt's are definitely champions.
St. Matt's I've been involved with St. Matt's since about 2010 when I started going to their assistance ministry. Right?
Okay.
Because they give bus passes and help with bills and things like that.
Yeah.
That's how I met them. And it's gone from that to now I volunteer with them. I'm with the Family Promise group that's trying to get that up and running. I'm volunteering with them on that.
Yeah.
I was at that too. I was at later in the day. I went towards the end of the day because last year and this year they've given me all the hats and the winter things that are left over for this drive for Jessica Maccabee and the COC.
And again, they keep going. That's wonderful.
Yeah. Okay, Ace, you can next one. Thank you.
This is our fire department with myself and Carol Ho Evans, and this is a couple days before Christmas. It was actually the coldest day that we had, like this whole year. And so we were there at their Christmas giveaway on Roosevelt Avenue, and this was the first time that I had ever attended that. But I was so impressed because the firemen were there and their families were there. Their wives, their children were there supporting. And the kids came in and they got, a bag of things and they got hot chocolate and they got their picture taken. And it was just wonderful. And so that particular night, there was, like 4 or 5 events going on to benefit families. And so, of course, they're champions, and their wives are champions too because, they gave up their evening too.
We can go on to the next one. Thank you.
This is, some people that I work with, and the person I really wanted, first off, they're all champions, but I wanted to point out Leonard Hart, the principal there. You've met him, right?
Yeah, he's a great guy.
He is a great guy.
He's a great guy. The thing that stuck with me, the first meeting that I went to, he was talking about greeting the children as they came in.
Oh, yeah, he does that.
And that particular day that he was talking about this, it was a day or two before that, a child had come through the line. He had greeted the child, asked him how they're doing. The child said, my dad died, and kept walking. And he was like, whoa, wait. Brought the child back. The child didn't even know how to process the grief. Crazy intelligent man. Just really.
Yes, really, phenomenal leader, highly intelligent, highly organized, most organized guy I know.
Very insightful.
Very insightful, and he's always about what he can do for others, and that really is who he is. And of course, he's a champion. He's a champion for children, for teachers, for just the community. And so I've been very fortunate to work with him. And I've learned a great deal from him. I do. He's one of my champions, and I appreciate. He's always honest with me, even when I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
And we all need people like that.
Okay, we can go to the next one, please. Thank you.
And this is actually. This was actually over at Pastor Joel's church on Market Street, and this was their Christmas giveaway. And somehow I got talked into singing, and luckily these nice children didn't let me sing by myself. Thank goodness, because I'm a terrible singer. And yet I sang for like an hour. I was like, oh my goodness, it was terrible. But these children did not let me sing alone. So they are definitely champions. And we don't have to look at any more pictures, because really I just wanted to really just demonstrate the champions of York, and then we can just talk about that a little bit. So thank you, Ace, for showing the pictures.
Thank you, Ace. Good job.
Oh, yeah, there's over there. He's running through them. That's good. These are all champions, too, so that's great. So one of the things that I was thinking about and just processing, why do I want to run, and what do I think about our community? Because that's really what people keep asking you. It's like, why do you want to run, and what do you think, and what can you make better? So one of the things that I've been working on and just thinking about is that I have often been described as a champion for our city. the people who are supporting me, they're champions for Annie Clark. And so one of the things that I wanted to say, and I'm glad I get the opportunity to say it today, and I'm going to say it again on Saturday, is that we're all champions for York. We all have that in us. You know, it's not just unique to me, and it doesn't have to be on the scale of running for city council. It can be the toothbrushes, right? It's really just doing what you can do and being that champion and just looking out for one other person. And so I'm going to get into more depth about that on Saturday, but I just want us to realize that we are strong people. We are strong people in York. We are not quitters. We are champions. And if you look back through our history, there have been men and women who have championed all of us to get to this place, where I can run for city council and you can have a talk show. Right, and so I want to talk some more about that later, but just letting that resonate with you that you are a champion.
Yeah, and we talked about this a little bit last week when Sherry Kim was on. And, you know, one of the things that I see in the city is I see the group over here that's rah-rah cheerleader, nothing's wrong with York, York's wonderful, don't ever say anything bad about York. Then the other side are the people that are like, it's a cesspool, it needs to burn down, and we have to build it up immediately. And Sherry and I were trying to give examples of, you know, it's the middle. You have to be in the middle, you have to look at it, because it's not all bad, it's not all good. There's, you know, we have issues, but like you're saying, they're not going to be resolved if we don't talk to each other. They're not going to be resolved if we don't support each other. And, you know, we're all in this together, so we might as well make the best of it.
I think that we're all in this together. I mean, so one of the things is that, you know, some of the things I am thinking about is that I know a lot of people say, well, you know, our city government worries about our downtown, and their reach doesn't go much further than that. But I'm going to talk some more about this, you know, on Saturday. But the big thing I want to say about that is you have to have a thriving downtown to have a thriving city. And that's important to understand that you know, if you don't have a thriving downtown with restaurants and stores and services, you're not going to have people want to come to your city and live. And we want people to come here and live. We want them to buy houses and start businesses, and because that's going to make all of us more economically strong and sustainable. In addition to that, people do feel separated from downtown. And that's nobody should ever feel separated. You know, I remember going from one part of our building to another, and just in just a few feet, I felt separated. So I know for sure that if you are growing up or you're living in one area of town, you're that young mother, you're your young father, you're that grandparent, and you're there all by yourself struggling and no one's helping you, and you see all this development, you think, I'm alone. And so we have to really work on that. But that doesn't always mean placing money in places.
Right.
You know, and I think that's a lot of times people think that more money is the solution. In fact, that's not true. What I think is the solution is you get a couple people in your neighborhood together, and you say, what is our big problem? If we could fix one thing and money was not not part of the problem, what would we do? And once you have that conversation, every neighborhood will define what they need. If it's a business or if it's a service, and something unique to them, and that anchors their part of the neighborhood. That is that connector between downtown and the outer neighborhoods of York City. And so I'm willing to, and I've already said this to numerous people, if someone has something that they want to propel forward, you do not have to wait until I'm on city council. Please email me, call me, Facebook me, and say, you know what, Annie, I'm having a couple people together. Will you come over and listen to what we have planned and see where you can help? And I will help you. Because that's what I do, is I strategically build things, create things, connect things.
Yeah, and she will. You know,
I really will.
I will vouch for Annie. What you see is what you get. There's no BS. It's pretty much like me. What you see is what you get. There's no BS. And I have seen this woman do amazing things. And I can even make sure I get all that information, and I'll put it up on the KIP Facebook page and Knowledge is Power Facebook page. And if people need to get that resource, they can just find it there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then I think the next thing is that I really want people, we did talk about it on Facebook, which is a great media to use when you want to discuss things. So one of the questions I had put out on Fixing York Facebook page, and then also my own was, when you hear the term smart city, what do you think? If you get a chance, if you've not read the thread, please do that on the Fixing York, because people were wonderful. First off, there was a tremendous conversation. People really did know specific things that they thought were smart cities, and that was fantastic, because that's what our leaders need. That's what I needed. What do you think it is? And then what I was able to do was, one, tell you, one, what I thought about it, and two, find us even more research on that. Because there are certain things that smart cities do, and there are certain things that turnaround cities do. Some of those things we're already doing in York. A lot of people probably don't know that when you look at the sidewalks being repaired, that's part of complete streets. People want to live in cities that have nice sidewalks, and they don't want to live in cities that have bad sidewalks. They do want to live in cities who have art and music and authentic things, not just somebody else's music or art, everybody's music or art, and definitely different types of cuisine, so that we can try other foods, which is fantastic. And our food is diversifying in York, which shows our people are diversifying in York. And so we need to eat at all those different restaurants. We need to try different things.
Yeah, I think what I hear from people is, I think people automatically equate, when you're going to fix up the city or when you're rebuilding, they automatically equate that with gentrification. That's not necessarily true.
I've heard that a lot, actually.
And I have, I was at the movie. They had a movie. It was last month.
The Strand,
the gentrification knot. And the panel was, there was a gentleman from, there was the woman who actually did the film. Jude, I can't think of her last name. There was a gentleman from York College, Eric Smith, hosted it, facilitated it. Then we had Buffalo Shavosky, and we had Blondinace. And I can tell you, there was about 4 individuals that just grandstanded that whole discussion period, and everything that came out of their mouths was negative. There wasn't one single positive thing. It was all, and I felt really bad for Blonda, because he got to the point where he said, when you get funding, you can only use the funding for certain things.
That is true.
And,
that is true.
And there's things that, and these are the things that I think the general public doesn't understand. And they need to start understanding that there's not just, it's not as simple as just going out and writing and saying, I want, my name is Ann Clark, and I want money for the city. Please give it to me. It doesn't work that way.
Well, I think, but that does come back on our leadership and our educational system. A lot of people, first off, I've heard it both ways. I've heard some people who say it is regentrification. I've heard other people say that they don't believe it is. I don't have an opinion yet, because first off, we all need to know more. Okay, there is a lot of development going on, but right now it's affecting our downtown area and a couple neighborhoods who needed some improvements. And so in that way, that's been very good, because it's raised up, those properties quite a bit, which is good. What we have to see is what is going to really happen to our outlining neighborhoods. And that's why I'm challenging the people watching, is 2 things. Is 1, get that group together, figure out what your problem solution is. And 2, we need to do a better job of informing our public on all of these things, because, most of the big work that you see get done is done by grants. And grants are very specific. A lot of times people think it's free money. Every grant writing you will ever go to says it's not free money. And that we have to make sure that we, explain to people, okay, we did get this grant, or this work is getting done, and here's the grant that we're using for that. But that's really us educating everyone better about economics, about smart cities, about being a healthy city. I mean, I think one of the things that we've done great, and there's a whole lot of people who've worked towards this, is we are a much healthier city today than we were 5 years ago. Our coach, Joyce Essence from Atlanta, challenged myself, Corey Strathmeyer, Barb from the Health Bureau, and Sean. and Kevin, I don't want to miss anybody, that York, Pennsylvania, could actually become one of the healthiest cities in the country and actually be known as the healthiest city in the country. Because of the work that we've done in the gardens, because of the work Central Market has done, some of the work that's going to be happening at Penn Street Market, the new sidewalks, the bike lanes, the playful sidewalks, the parks. We have more parks per square foot than like any other city. It's like pretty amazing,
It's
right?
just getting to them.
It's just you know, using them, the rail trail.
right.
So she really believed that we were teetering on greatness, and that honestly, that soon, if we kept working that way, we could be the healthiest city in the United States. So there's a challenge, because that work has already started, and so we can keep going with that work.
Well, Ace is flashing me the 5 minutes.
I know.
Wow, time goes fast.
It
I
does.
want you to talk a little bit about the event on
Saturday.
so we don't leave that out.
Okay. So Saturday I will be at everybody's neighborhood, Continental Square. And this has significance for me because I grew up at 117 North Queen Street, so I consider myself a downtown girl. And so that's one of the reasons we're having it at the square. And I want us to all start from the same place on this campaign in everyone's neighborhood. And I want everybody to feel like, every child, parent, grandparent, to feel like that is your downtown. And I want you to utilize it. And if there's things there that you need, then you tell me. And we're going to work on getting those things that people need down there so that people want to come downtown and use it. 12:30, we will be at the square, all the champions, myself, to officially kick off my campaign. I feel like it is kicked off, but, officially do the real speech. And then following that, from 1 to 3, there will be a meet and greet at Ironic, and you don't have to come for all of it. You can stop in, and that would be terrific. So a lot of people say they're coming. Oh, if it's snowing or raining, I'm still going to give the speech from downtown. I got an umbrella. But I would
Is
like...
Lisa going to hold it for you?
I told Lisa, too. Lisa's allowed to go up to Ironic and meet everybody for the meet and greet. So myself and my son and his business partner, they have Sparks Entertainment. They're going to be there to film it. So the three of us, if it's snowing or raining or hailing or sleeting, we'll be standing there at 12:30. So, but everybody else can meet us at the meet and greet.
That sounds great. I think it'll be a real good kickoff. And people can at least, I think a lot of people know you already, but those who don't will have a chance to really meet. And I think that's important, too, is that our leaders need to be accessible.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really do. They need to be. You need to feel comfortable. And that's what I like about Carol Evans. It's she's accessible.
She is. One of the things that people wanted to help me, one of the things that you could absolutely do is I really need people who are willing to host a meet and greet for me. You can reach out to me on Facebook, and you don't have to have any food, and you don't have to do anything. I just am asking someone to get 4 or 5 of your friends together or more. And just I'll come talk to you guys about the things that I'm interested in and worried about, or things you're concerned about. That's how people can really help me, because even though I do know a lot of people, and a lot of people know me, there's lots of people I don't know. And I want to know you, and I want to know your concerns and your ideas. And so I did a map of York, and almost every neighborhood I did know somebody. But if there's anybody out there watching by Davis School, I need some people there to go talk to, because I haven't been in that neighborhood too much.
Yeah, you even know Ace's mom.
I do know Ace's mom, and Ace is doing a great job. So shout out to Shannon, Ace's mom.
Well, Ace is giving me the peace sign 2-minute warning here. So I want to make sure that we get this.
Yeah.
I don't know if Ace. I'm going to read this, and then I'll hold up, and hopefully Ace, you can get it for me. Mayor C. Kim Bracey's 5th annual MLK America's Sunday Supper. That's going to be January 15th. That's this coming Sunday, 4 p.m. Doors open at 3:30.
That's correct.
Doors open at 3:30. It isn't on here. That's on the Facebook page. It says, "Where do we go from here? Free community meal and discussion. At the Lincoln Charter School, 559 West King Street, York, PA." And they are asking that you donate hygiene products for young men in the community. I don't know if you can. Can you get that? I don't know how if we can get that. Let's see. Get that kind of No, that's not real good, but yeah. There we go. Thank you, Ace. It can also get that on. I can get that on my Facebook page too, or the show's Facebook page. And this is Anne's card, and I will. What I'll do is take. I don't know that you can even see that very well.
No, that's okay. But if
But-
people would look me up
Yeah.
at, it's Annie, Anne, Clark, Clark, for City Council on
Okay.
Facebook, you can like my page. And, of course, you can like my regular page, too, which is Annie Jaurez Clark. But they can come on my Facebook page, and then you can get to my website and look at blogs and things that I'm writing.
Okay, well, I will take a snapshot of this. I will put this up on the KIP, the Facebook page. Aces count me down. I want to thank you, Ann, for
Aw.
coming on. Remember, next week we have.
Hi folks, I'm Steve Butler. Welcome to the garage. Today's show we're going to show you how to make this modern contemporary coffee table. It's made out of a single sheet of plywood, a few tools involved, a couple of screws. You have a great coffee table. We'll show you how to make that in the garage. The project we're going to make today is a plywood table that I made about 10 years ago, and it's a knockdown table, meaning there's no fasteners involved. You can take it apart just like a trestle table. You can make it just using stocked plywood that you can buy at your local lumber yard. Again, there's nothing fancy about it. There's no major hard joinery involved, but the main thing about this table are using jigs and templates. So I had some pieces of sheathing, roofing sheathing that I used on my chicken coop I just built. So I used that to make my jigs. And you can buy these toggle clamps at most hardware stores and just hold down clamps. And if you didn't have hold down clamps, you could also use some double face tape. Our piece will fit in on our jig here, clamp it down with our toggle clamps, and I'm going to take it to the router table and we're going to flush trim the excess off. So the most difficult thing